that some historians have noticed what they call a fourth wave. Now, unfortunately, we're still in this wave, so it's a bit difficult to determine all of its limits and boundaries and definitions. But there has arisen, within those who are Pentecostal and charismatic, an increased desire for intellectual credibility, thoughtfulness, the writing of books that are more than just practical memoirs, a real substantive change that we're seeing in Pentecostal and charismatic influenced universities and academic settings. You're seeing a maturing in some ways, a bringing together of head and heart within those who are charismatic and Pentecostal that had not really been part of the movements from the very beginning. Now, that's not to say that they were dumb. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that there's an increased thoughtfulness, an increased deepening of what their tradition is, and historians have begun to talk about the fourth wave. But again, not everyone agrees with this, and not everyone knows what this even means. But there are changes afoot. Okay, so let's go through these three waves and tell the story of the Pentecostal and charismatic movements. First and foremost, it's too often said, and it's said in just about every textbook possible, that the Pentecostal faith gets going in Azusa Street. Azusa Street happens, and lo and behold, we have Pentecostals springing up everywhere. Well, the fact of the matter is, that's not the case. It's not the case for two reasons. One, we've already said these movements, these revivals, the ecstatic experiences had been there at least for a century. So in general, we can't talk about Azusa Street as the kind of chasm that separates this new Pentecostalism from everything else that had gone before. The other thing is that Azusa Street and those involved there had learned their faith, had learned this theology from other people. Now, there are inklings here and there, even as far back as the 1700s, of folks who get very much wrapped up in ecstatic emotional worship. There are occurrences in Wales, over in the UK. There was a man by the name of Edward Irving, for example, who lived from 1792 to 1834, who was a bit rowdy, and he talked a great deal about Holy Spirit healings and these types of things. But we don't want to create too long of a genealogy here. We have to be careful. There are folks that are in different pockets of both the UK and in America, but that doesn't mean that they're all connected. But in terms of the rise of Pentecostalism in the context of the States, there's a man by the name of Charles Fox Parham. Charles lived from 1873 to 1929, and Charles really is the godfather of the Pentecostal